this if you're ready, Jambo.
I was born ready.
Oh my God. Okay. And I'm like, I'm in the grave. I'm not ready. Okay. All right. Okay. Hi everybody, PoopWitchX here, and I have the most amazing, incredible founder of Team Sidequest, one of my idols with me, Jambo. Jambo,
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well today. Thank you. How are you?
I'm a little nervous, but I just want to say I am so appreciative. I know I've said it like 16 times, but thank you so much for taking time out with us today and hanging out with us on Coven Conversations. And I have been looking forward to this day since the first day of my life. Since I was born.
Popped out the womb, ready to go.
Popped out of the womb, and I was like, Jam, although I think I'm older than you, so I think I had to wait a little while until you were born, and then I was like, okay, now Jambo, I could feel her. She's in the earth now. She's somewhere. But I wanted to ask you, because I know I've known you for a long time, but I feel like I want everyone to know how you got started, because you've made such an impact on Twitch and in the Twitch universe. I would love if you'd share with us how you started becoming a streamer.
Yeah. Well, first I went to high school with Ty, which I think really influenced me, to get started streaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though we didn't really know each other, but I knew,
You just sensed him. Yeah. Just said there was so Ty is one of our SideQuest team members, and they lived their lives parallel to each other. You guys went to every school together though, not just high school.
7 cents. It was middle school and high school. Yeah,
and
but
we didn't
know until this year.
Insane.
When Ty was he said something about growing up in a small suburb of Chicago, and I was like, oh, me too. And then he said the name of the town, and I was like,
wait,
oh, me too. And then I messaged him, and he was like, yeah, I went to this high school. And I was like, oh, me too. And then we figured out that we graduated a year apart from each other 13 years later.
How many people were in your schools that you guys didn't notice each other at any point?
I mean,
you guys are in each other's yearbook.
There were 1,200 people, maybe max.
Oh, wow.
Max.
So wait, did you
he was a year ahead of me. We had the same friends though. Yeah, we knew the same people and had the same teachers.
This is making less and less sense. I don't understand.
I don't know how we didn't know each other, but we never met until. But then we're in each other's yearbooks, so we had it was wild. It was wild.
That is so.
Anyway, so Ty is why I got started streaming.
Absolutely,
back in high school. Yeah,
when you guys didn't even know each other, but you guys knew each other. Your souls were intertwined.
Know what Twitch was.
Twin souls over here. Amazing. Ty screams, we love you.
But real talk, I was watching Twitch before it was Twitch. I was back on the Justin TV days.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the JTV crew.
Woo-hoo. I wasn't.
And then I stopped watching for a while. And then I grew up, and evidently so did Ty, around where Ninja grew up. So out in our area at the GameStops out here for the Halo tournaments and whatever else, it was I knew a lot of people who knew him. So it was when he started to get big on Twitch, it was like a close to home thing.
Yeah.
So it was like seeing somebody from your neighborhood. Wow. Not really, because we didn't actually grow up near each other, but
did
your
you
area,
also go
right?
to school with Ninja?
No. Ninja went to a different high school 30 minutes away. But the point is, it's somebody local to you is doing something that I don't know, I didn't really think was possible for somebody me. I don't know, you disassociate yourself from people doing really cool, successful things. Mm-hmm. And so then, I kept watching Twitch, and I found the likes of Dr. Lupo and then Bloody Faster after that, and these amazing people doing amazing things. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I want to start streaming. And my boyfriend at the time did not want me to stream, even though he streamed, because any pretty woman on the internet can get anyone to do anything. So it wouldn't be special. Ooh. And that stuck with me for a long time. So
I'm glad that's an X.
So I started streaming while he was at work. I would stream from my Xbox. Wow. And my friend would come over and sit with me and talk with me, and I would look at chat on my phone. And I had a lot of really supportive friends who would kind of like just come into chat and like hang out. The first game I ever streamed ever was Firewatch.
Oh, wow.
And I played and beat it in a couple of streams because he used to work nights. So I would just be up streaming, like doing whatever. And I never told him. And then, you know, one day he found out, he got mad. And 2 weeks later, we ended up breaking up and he left. So I was like, all right, well, I am living alone for the first time in my entire life.
Wow.
And I don't want to just be someone who wakes up, goes to work, comes home, plays games, goes to bed, rinse, repeat every day. So I decided to start streaming. So I kept streaming from my Xbox and then saved up money from my job because I worked a full-time job to build a PC. So I built my first PC in April of 2017. And that is when I feel like my real push into streaming began. And then from there, it just became something I never expected. I never thought my life would end up where I am right now. I've worked jobs since I was 16. So I've always had, or 14. So I've always had a job. I've always had like for sure money and everything. And I never really saw passions that I had leading to anything substantial.
Yeah.
And then last year in 2019, I had my a relationship fall through the day before a move, followed by losing my job and then ending up in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And it all happened within 5 months.
Wow.
And that was 2019. That was the most like stressful period of time. And I job hunted for like 3 or 4 full months, and I took interviews and nothing was coming through. I had almost no money left. I was stressed out. And then, you know, community came through. And after 3 months of being able to sustain myself medically, with our home, with rent and bills and everything else, with streaming, I decided to full-time stream. And I have been a full-time streamer now for 14 months.
That is, first of all, you have come through so much adversity, even just in the beginning, like having a partner who wasn't supportive of you at all, to the point where you had to do it when he wasn't around, which is so upsetting because it was hindered you from the very beginning, thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And you have to like get through that, then to go through that, to then, you know, now you're alone and you built your own computer, like you badass, like, and then, so you've been only full time for a little over a year.
14 or 15 months.
That is like insane. Well, first of all, I feel like I completely relate to that feeling of like, I always had side hustles. I feel like so many people think that streamer, because I had no idea that you were only full-time the last year. I thought you've been full-time for years.
Yeah, no, I had a full-time job for 3.5 years of streaming.
Wow.
3 years.
And then, you know what? I just would like to take a moment to just appreciate that, because I don't know about you, Jambo, but I just became full-time in October. And I have so many people who are like, I want to be a streamer. I'm going to go full-time right away. And I'm always like, no, wait until you absolutely, there is like, you don't want streaming to become something that you like are dreading and stressful and putting pressure on.
There is a difference between something feeling like a job and something feeling like a career. I feel like if you don't vet yourself before you jump into full-time streaming, you're going to have a difficult time.
Yes.
Like you need to make sure that you have something that is self-sustaining with your community, and then B, that you have a backup plan. Yeah. Because if you just go into it saying, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to jump and my community will be my net. Like you can't depend on people who don't know you're depending on them. Be transparent with the people that are supporting you. That's what I did. I was like, all right, listen, I will go full time. We had a full stream about it at the beginning of January in 2020. I was like, listen, this is possible. We talked for like 4 hours about every possible outcome, about how it would go if people were uncomfortable with it, what everybody thought. And I wanted to really communicate that, because it's with streaming, until you get those big sponsorships in, you are being supported by the people who care about you and
it's
support
volatile.
your passion project.
Yeah.
And that's important to acknowledge and understand, because if you just go full time because you want to be a streamer, it doesn't work like that.
It does not. And it's such a misconception that people, like, I even thought Jambo had been full-time for a long time. And it's actually reassuring that even Jambo, who we all look at as like I said, our Lord and Savior, like Jambo did not go until her community was like, no, like we, and I feel the exact same way. I was so reluctant because I always had side hustles because I didn't want streaming to become something that was stressful. And I felt like I had to put pressure on. And you're absolutely right. Streaming should be looked at as like a place that you feel safe and comfortable, but also it should be looked at as a career, because if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I feel like streaming should feel like that. And yes, there's still work, and of course there's still back end things and rigmarole, but like I feel like taking the leap too soon can be very detrimental, and you don't take the leap until you're ready. And I think that's really moving that you, who we all look at like Queen, didn't even do it until like a year and a couple months, which is insane. And you built, okay, so let's get into Sidequest, because I would love you to talk about, just like I love you in general, but I'd love you to talk about, because that has been going on. People think it's been around. I got messages, by the way, Jambo, where people are like, Sidequest has been around for like years, right? I'm like, no, no, this is very recent, and people don't believe it because of all the impact it's made. Please tell us how you came up with the idea, how you started it. Like, tell us everything.
I have goosebumps already.
I love it. I'm so excited.
So I have always wanted to be a part of a team that was more than a glorified support group. And it wasn't until maybe two and a half years ago where I started to actually see these teams forming, teams that did more and that meant more than communities that were like, oh, well, if you want to be a part of our team, you need to follow our team leader on all social media platforms and watch their stream, because that's where the information is going to be. Like, where it all feels like a pyramid scheme almost. And I there were so many that disbanded and new ones that would form and then immediately like shut down. And it became really toxic as far as the environment that these teams created. And I never really felt like I found anywhere that felt like home. So you know what? I'm sorry. Can you give me one quick second? I apologize.
No,
I'm
please,
so sorry.
Go. No, so just letting you guys know, if you don't know, Sidequest is a team that Jambo founded. And I was one of the people who, when Jambo said, hey, I'm making a team, I was like, I am going to apply. And I thought I had no chance in hell at all. There was like, in the first round, there was like 450 applications or something like that. And I literally applied, and I didn't even think there was a chance. So right now, a lot of you guys have applied and are waiting to hear back. And I just want you guys to know, there is a space in Sidequest for a certain amount of people, but that means that some people aren't going to get in every round. But that doesn't mean you should give up or feel like you didn't, you're not good enough or you didn't make it for whatever reason. It's just that Sidequest is a place that I feel like is very special, and I genuinely feel like it's going to continue to grow. So if you don't get in this round, it's okay. Like, people don't need to be like, I get a lot of messages from community members who are like, I applied and I didn't get it and I'm so upset, I just want to quit streaming. Please don't feel that way, because Sidequest, the last thing that Sidequest would want is for any single person to feel like they will give up. That means that you're probably not trying to get on the team for the right reason. You should just keep wanting to push harder and make your community something so that there's no way that you're not going to be a part of it. And it's going to be a long journey. Like, this group is going to continue to grow and continue to prosper and continue to do good. And I was one of those people. I put in an application because I followed Jambo for years. I lurked. I was too ever scared to talk in her chat. I just lurked. And I put in my application absolutely not thinking.
I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I was just talking about how I applied and I thought I had no chance in hell. and how I got in and I was like completely dumbfounded and shocked. And I was just saying that people are putting in applications right now, and to not be discouraged if you don't get in this time, because Sidequest is for the long haul. Yeah. And it's going to be around. So don't give up, keep trying. But I would love continue on how you began this amazingness.
So I was seeing like these, there were finally teams in the space, right, that were amazing. Like you look at teams like Plant Army and Rainbow Arcade and these teams of amazing people that were sprouting up over the last like year or two. And I was like, okay, like these are amazing teams led by wonderful people. And I was like, but I want a team that's charity focused. That was my biggest thing. And I didn't find any. Like I couldn't find what I was looking for. So when I was getting closer to partnership last spring, it was May, and we were at the end of St. Jude Play Live. And we were almost at $20,000 raised. And I remember sitting there and I was thinking, like, this is our last night. It was like 3 a.m. and we were going to be done fundraising in like 10 minutes. Wow. And I just remember sitting there thinking about everything that we had done in just my community, in just our space, our channel. And it was kind of that moment when you think about if you got a group of people together who had the same desire to change the world, how much good could you do? And
it's so crazy.
When I got partnered in June, I immediately messaged Violet and I was like, Violet, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to figure out how I want to have it. I want to launch it. I said, I want to launch it at the beginning of 2021. And then in July, I was sitting on the couch with one of my friends who had come over. And I was like, what could I call this team? And I remember I was sitting there and I was thinking and thinking and thinking. And I said out loud, I was like, what about Sidequest? And both of us just looked at each other and smiled. And it was like that moment where you felt the spark of something.
I'm getting chills.
Coming to right then in that moment. And from there, everything else fell into place. Spectissa made that incredible map in 2 days.
Yes.
The map all of that. She made our logo the next day. Everything fell into place and we were ready to launch the team by August. Wow. We had full staff. We had all of the social media names claimed. We had the website being built, which is still being worked on because everything has been a mess this year. We had the team name claimed on Twitch. We had everything. So we launched the team in September. Sidequest has been a team now for almost 7 months. And we have raised over $102,000 for charity.
Insane. Absolutely. First of all, that gave me chills. Like I got chills all over. I feel like that is so, it's, what I think, what is my favorite part of how you did this is that you saw something was missing that you could do so much good with on this platform that has now given you, and you were like, I want to give back now. And I think that like finding something that was missing, that was it really is true. Like Twitch is an amazing place. There are amazing content creators on here. And you were like, hey, I'm going to try to cultivate like-minded people and do good with these people because we already have platforms. Let's do it together. Let's share each other, help each other. It's amazing. And by the way, I can't believe you did all this so quickly because like even from my perspective, when I first applied, everything was so freaking professional. Like everything looked so good. It felt like it was something that you were working on for like years. It was such a well thought out and constructed idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was so master, like the side, like even just the name, everything. Like it's such a good concept and such a good, like the graphics, like Spectissa did, like I can't believe she did it in like a day. That is insane.
Yeah, she did incredible work really fast and helped it all come together.
Wow. So when you became partnered, was that one of the first things that you wanted to do? Like you were like, I want to create a team, or was it just sort of like a natural progression that happened from that you saw, or was that always something you had hoped to do?
It was no, it was something that I wanted to do a few months before getting partnered, but it wasn't anything I was thinking about permanently because going into partnership, I did not have this like expectation of anything. I didn't make any plans for post partnership. I had no plans. Even when I applied, I didn't really think about it a lot. Like it was just kind of one of those things where, you know what, like we're still streaming and we're still creating content and we're still here. So I had no plans. I was like, yeah, one day we'll get partnered and then I could make a team. And then boom, June 2nd rolled around and I was like, shit, I'm not ready. And then I had to
you got to get ready.
I know.
We were coming. We were like, oh, Jambo's making a team. Let's go.
I literally
did you expect 400 applications?
460 applications the first time around. And I was like, I could not.
I shit myself when I got my acceptance. I did not think, like, I know I had a podcast with Kalina, and Kalina and I both were like, we applied and literally just completely went, well, that's not going to happen. Like, just washed our hands. But I literally just, you know, when you like shoot your shot and you just try to not think about it. So when I got the email, I was like, wait, what? Excuse me? I was like, wait,
oh my gosh.
Like I freaked out.
We were so happy with how that first round went. And I remember there was somebody who
I ugly cried yet.
Came they came to me and they were like, oh, so you're only accepting people that are like partnered and have high viewership. No. And I was like, did you actually look at our team?
Huge spectrum.
You know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because I feel like our team is from not only so many backgrounds, but so many different areas of the streamer space. It's not like we've had people question us on so many things, and it really is frustrating because you can see that they're questioning based on a couple of people. Like we had somebody try and tell us that women don't count as like just like your only minority or POC group. And I was like, do you know what you're talking about?
Saying? Like, oh my God.
It's like things where like they don't look at what's actually happening. Right. They're upset that they didn't get on the team. And that's the worst part. When it comes to going through applications, our entire staff team just has a mental breakdown for like a day.
Oh man.
And we do it so fast. And we go through, like, we have a very streamlined process of going through applications, but it is so difficult every single time.
Yeah.
To go through and know that like, oh, we can only take like this time, I think it's like 15 to 20 people, and we can only take this many out of, I think we have over 200 applications right now. So we have a lot. It's a lot of work.
And you guys do such a good job. I think that narrative that people are like, oh, well, you only take bigger streamers. We have a huge spectrum of sizes. Yep. I don't even think that I think you guys, the beauty of Sidequest is that when the staff goes through these applications, they genuinely look at like the merit of what your content is. And that seems much more fundamentally important than numbers. Like numerics are important because you don't want somebody who, you know, is just starting or anything like that. But in general, I feel like you look at so much more and you care genuinely that you're going to vibe with the rest of the group. And we try to like, I know that I'm absolutely terrible at Discord, but I read everything. And it really is like a family. It's a group of people. And when we call each other family and we're all like cult and not cult and joke, it really is something very special. And that's why I think so many people apply, and also so many people do get upset because they do see the merit in the team. But that doesn't mean if you don't get it now that you might not get it in the future. It just means maybe you should, like, you know, keep striving, right? Like you wouldn't want anyone to like quit because of it. Then they're probably not maybe looking at it from the right perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have streamers who range from 3 average viewers to 400 on the team. There's we don't look at numbers as the reason you will or will not be accepted. They are a part of you and a part of your community, but we look at numbers primarily as like the baseline threshold. Like have an average viewership of 3 or more. And then like that's affiliate basic.
That's just affiliate based. And honestly, I've actually had someone who's like, well, why do you need affiliate? Well, because affiliate means you've at least hit the threshold of I stream regularly to achieve this minimum is,
right.
you know, and I feel like if you've been streaming and you just started, you might not even understand like all that goes into being on a team yet. I mean, I know that I have never been on a team until Sidequest, but I've seen and I've watched horror stories unfold. They're not all safe and they're not all in it for the right reason. So I feel like you created something. That's why it's, people like love it because it's so special.
We're really proud of what we've built. I know I am over the moon about the people who have been interested in the team, which is huge. And the quality of our team members and the good that everyone has done is just amazing to me. And I set a goal for... It's going to sound so silly right now, but I set a goal of the team raising $100,000 by the end of 2021.
Oh my, we're going to hit like 1 million by the end of 2021.
When we hit $100,000 raised, I was like, there's literally like no way that this just happened.
You have no idea. Like there's so much more in store. Like I already am like, I'm looking at the rest of this year and I'm like, we're going to hit 1 million. Let's go. Let's do it.
You know what? Like I have a lot of big goals for Sidequests that I'm not going to talk about.
Is it redacted?
It's redacted. Jambo's personal redactions.
Redactions. Oh my gosh. Well, anything you have in store, because you stream from your heart. And I feel like that was something that always drove me when I watched you. I look up to you. I would love to talk to you about how you are probably one of fundamentally the most open streamers on this platform. You talk about mental health. You talk about conversations that are challenging. You don't shy away from things that might be difficult. And I feel like that's something not only admirable, but it's something that's really important on this platform, because when you do build your little corner of Twitch, how do you want it to look? How do you want people, when they open your door and they walk in, what do you want them to feel when they're there? And I feel like you do such a good job of having people come in and having people feel safe and welcome and open. And the way you talk about you and your life is something that I think more streamers should be okay to do. And it will make things that are less taboo. And I'm very vocal. And I would love to talk to you about how did you decide? Have you always been like that? Or is that something that you really want to work?
No.
Okay. How has that come to pass?
I was super closed off for most of my streaming career. I would say up until November of 2019. I was very closed off about things because I started streaming in a very toxic space. It was a lot of people that were starting at the same time, and a lot of them were very toxic, grubby people who had these there was one person in particular who many of us had some experiences with, who grew up kind of in the streaming space at that time, who essentially told me that, using your emotions is a manipulation tool, and that discussing your mental health is looking for pity, and that nobody wants to feel that way when they're in your stream. So keep it to yourself, because if you're crying, then people are just going to give you money because they feel bad for you.
Wow.
And then meanwhile, that's what this person would do. So it was like a competition almost to them. So they would use their emotions to manipulate the people around them, and ended up hurting one of my friends very badly.
Whoa.
It was...
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's terrible.
So that person created a very toxic mindset for some of us, because we did not know how to discuss those things. Because when you're learning and you're growing with other people, those people, you kind of look to them. The people who are growing faster than you, you're like, oh, okay, well, what you're doing must be working. And very naive. I was very naive when I started streaming. I did not know everything. I don't pretend to still. But I did look to people around me, and I was like, oh, okay, so if that looks bad, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make people upset. I don't want anybody to give me anything out of pity. I don't want any of that, right? So it definitely hindered me and hurt me for a long time. And it wasn't until...
Yeah, that was straight up gaslighting.
It was 100%. Not. Yeah, no, it was
terrible.
Awful.
Wow.
But that person has not been in my life for almost 3 years now. So
good. Fuck that person.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck that.
In November of 2019, after essentially my life fell apart, I had just been out of the hospital for about 2 weeks. I was in the ICU for a diabetic emergency for 3 days.
Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. That's so scary.
It's all right. It is what it is, right? We move forward and we're better for it. But I almost gave up streaming, which is not something a lot of people know, but I almost stopped entirely because in those 5 months I streamed maybe 20 times, maybe.
Wow.
And I don't even think it was that much. I think it was like 18. And I was inconsistent. I was depressed. I thought everybody forgot about me. I felt all of the growth that I had up to that point slipping away. Like nothing I did mattered. And I just felt like I can't keep putting on this face anymore. I can't keep trying to stream while I'm looking for a job, I feel like I'm falling apart. I was still recovering from the hospital 2 weeks later. I had no energy. And then I was like, maybe I should just stop because I should absolutely not subject people to this. And then I almost quit. And Anthony was like, okay, well, you can't because this is what you love to do. This is what you're passionate about and you make a difference here. So why don't you try one more time? Yeah. And I did that on November 2nd of 2019. I had a complete breakdown on stream for the first time ever. Oh man, wow. I was in tears for like an hour. I let everything out. I told them everything because I had hidden everything from pretty much everyone.
So they didn't know. Your community did not know.
They didn't know about a lot of it. Okay. I kept everything that happened with my ex-fiance
is this the same person who like didn't want you to even stream in the first place?
Different people.
Different person.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man.
And then the move, which happened the day after. So moving in here was just surrounded by trauma. It was the day after a breakup, and it was a mess. Followed then by losing my job. Followed then by the hospital. So it was all just like
compounded, like all at the same time.
And I let it all out. And I was like, I have $3,200 in hospital bills. I have no money to pay. I absolutely just like lost it. I broke down.
I feel like it was just you. It was like you just needed it out.
Well, like, it felt so freeing. It felt like
cathartic.
I finally was able to be open. And I remember saying, please don't pity me. I'm not looking for anybody to look down on me or feel bad for me. I just need to be me.
Yeah. You need to let it out. You need to be mine. Yeah. Yes. You were reclaiming it in a way. Yeah.
I was just trying to take back my space. Mm-hmm. And that month, our community went from 74 subs to 3,700 in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And they paid my hospital bills.
Wow. And this was in 2019.
Yep. November 2019. Wow. And it was, I'm going to try not to cry. It was
I'm gonna cry.
Incredible month that I have ever experienced. The support was insane. Wow. And then after that, from December to January, it was 3 straight months of payouts that allowed me to pay all of my bills that kept us afloat, that I was able to keep up with the debt that I was trying to pay off. It was everything. And then that was when I went full time.
That's when you went full time, right? Yeah. After those 3 months. And honestly, this is something that really needs to be said. Streamers, and I actually tweeted about this a while ago. It was one of the only tweets that kind of like went off. Streamers, your favorite streamer has considered quitting. They all have. Everybody has thought, I can't do this anymore, or if I take a break, people forget about me, or I don't know where to go, or I need, everybody hits these rough patches where they think, I don't know if I can keep going. And look, Jambo's story is such an inspiration because Jambo went through absolutely so much in that period of time. I mean, just being hospitalized alone is scary and traumatic and intense. It takes a wear and tear on your body, but then the relationship issues, the job issues, and look at that. All of that animosity that you had to go through, now from that, kind of rough patch, really rough patch, you have prospered, and Sidequest was birthed from that, which is a weird thing to say, but like, I don't have enough, but like all of that came from after that hardship. So I always say that like, your favorite streamer has considered quitting. It doesn't mean that they don't love streaming. Most of the people who think about quitting love streaming so much that it's like hurts and that they're like trying to do right by their community. And sometimes you just, like life. And it is so amazing that you were able to come through. So that moment in November when you opened up to your community? Was that the clicking point? Like, hey,
Yep.
I can be honest and I can talk about my mental health. And
that's
so that
what I
really,
did.
okay. And now you talk about it very openly and you have very open discussions about mental health and when things are challenging. Do you feel like there's any disadvantages, or do you feel like, because
Yes.
my biggest, I feel like on the one hand, you have streamers who are like, this is amazing, I want to be open, but then boundary issues. Like, do you ever have faced those sort of problems?
Yeah. So, I think the biggest positive that I've had with being open about my mental health is not feeling alone. And it allows others to not feel alone as well, because that was a big thing that I struggled with. Feeling like I was alone in what I was feeling, that nobody could really understand what's happening with me and all of that stuff. And it was really difficult, but being able to be open and talk about it and talk about starting therapy and honestly, it's something that allows me to hold myself accountable. When I talk to people and I say, this is how I'm feeling and this is what I'm going to do about it, it's not just me saying it to me. It's me saying it to people who I know want me to be my best and do my best and take care of myself. And it's people who check in on me, friends who check in on me, a partner who checks in on me, and people who want what's best for me. And that is because I have created this space and cultivated a community that cares about other people and that is compassionate toward other people in what they need and what is best for them. And that is magnificent.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The one downside that comes with that is there are boundary issues, as you said. That is one of the most difficult things that I've had to deal with. And I am actually, just as of this week, I am finally going to be outlining my boundaries to others on stream on Thursday after an incident this yesterday.
Oh,
I have set aside my boundaries so that others in the community would not feel uncomfortable, but I have allowed myself then in turn to feel uncomfortable in my own space on too many occasions, and it's become exhausting. So I am taking control of that. And that is a perfect example of personal growth through a community that I feel passionate for and compassionate for. Yeah. And I'm very excited about.
I'm really proud of you. I mean, I know that it's hard because I feel like you want to do right by your community, but I think that you and I both have similar things where we're like people pleaser to our core. Yep. And sometimes by doing that, I always call myself a pathological people pleaser. Like, I will literally let people like walk on my spine if it will get them one step farther. Like, I will do anything to make people happy. Right. And I feel like that allows for boundaries to be crossed all the time because people I'm so nice and I don't want to upset anybody and I don't want to rock the boat that like when I say like enough is enough, they still don't believe me. So I feel like you being able to be like, no, I'm reclaiming this. I want this to be a safe place for all, including myself. It's amazing. And so when you say you're writing out your boundaries, does that mean you're going to like put it in your Discord? Like what do you
I'm going to be outlining them a little bit more in the rules for the channel as well. I'm going to be redoing a lot of that stuff. And then also in the Discord, but I want to have a conversation about it first live and actually talk about how it will impact stream, because while it's not like a huge change, it's enough of one that I think there will be some people that need to hear it, especially after what happened the other day. So it's one thing to be open and transparent in discussions with mental health and discussing your struggles or anxieties and those things. And it's another to trauma dump on people who are not expecting it.
I was just going to ask you about that because that's a thing that's been going on a lot. And do you want to elaborate for people what trauma dumping is? And also if you want to give an example, because I feel like some people don't even realize what they're doing. And I think it'd be beneficial.
Trauma dumping is, I guess the easiest way to explain it would be dropping your experiences, discussing traumatic or triggering events with somebody who is not anticipating it. Somebody like just you're unloading it on someone who may or may not be capable of handling that, because we all have our own mental health struggles and we all have our own experiences and our own traumas, our own boundaries and everything we are dealing with. So it's not even just something obviously that happens in Twitch chats. It happens in private conversations. It happens on social media. It happens in Discords. You unload these things on maybe somebody who is not capable of handling it.
Absolutely.
And I definitely think that it's different when you ask first. You preface it with something. Are you capable of handling this? Do you have the spoons? Can I talk to you? Something like that. And I feel like when it comes to a trauma dump and discussing traumatic things with another person, that is much more important than just putting content or trigger warning and then saying it anyway.
Right.
I think when there's a difference,
a consensual discourse where you're like, hey, I have something going on. Are you okay to do you feel okay to talk to me? It might be triggering, but like there's like a consent that happens in these conversations because we don't know what other people's boundaries are. We don't know what other people's triggers are. So I absolutely, there has to be some kind of narrative that flows between the two people instead of you just dropping it and saying, oh, here you go. And then it also changes the entire, like consent is so much more than just sex. Consent can happen in friendships, can happen in colleagues, conversation. Yeah. And I think that, like you said, trauma dumping happens all the time for streamers. I mean, one of the things that you brought up actually was like, please don't come into my stream and say that somebody X, Y, or Z just passed away. Like that might be really, huge.
That's a perfect example of like, while it might not be like someone personal to you, some people do not handle death well.
Right.
And it's one of those things you just need to respect that. Everyone deserves the right to grieve on their own time. Right. And it shouldn't be in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
And trying to figure out how to react live while also balancing their own boundaries. That's the hardest part. And I think with mental health, it's especially frustrating because you never want anyone to feel as though their mental health or their struggles are invalid. And that's never what it is.
Right.
But there needs to be a balance and there needs to be a mutual understanding that while your mental health and struggles are valid and the trauma that you have been through is awful and again valid,
and you're not alone in it, we want to be there for you. You're not a burden. Exactly.
But the same needs to be understood for the other person.
Yes.
That is, if it's going to trigger somebody else, if your mental health cannot withstand that conversation, that also needs to be respected.
Right.
And that's the part where, when you say this is an open space to discuss mental health, it doesn't all encompass triggering traumatic topics that without warning or anything like that. We had an instance yesterday where somebody came into stream and, just a viewer just came in and they were like, oh, hey, how is everyone? And another viewer began to discuss, a very, very, very triggering subject out of nowhere. There was no lead in, no warning. It was like they were just answering the question, discussing these things that were extremely triggering and traumatic if the wrong person reads them. If someone who cannot handle that sees that and is impacted negatively, which is what ended up happening. Another viewer was impacted and had to leave because it was something they were currently struggling with.
Oh, wow.
And when this person was confronted, when I brought it up, I said, there is a spot in Discord where you can discuss these things and you can black out your text. You can put trigger and content warnings so that people have the choice to read it as opposed to not having an option.
A choice. Yeah.
Wow. They told me that this space was not mental health friendly.
Well, that's okay.
They started to gaslight me into believing that I was creating a negative space by not wanting to have those extremely triggering topics discussed like that. And then when the person spoke up about feeling hurt by that, then I was told that I was putting a stigma on people reaching out for help.
Oh, well, okay, no. I think that is so, first of all, anybody who thinks that way, like that their story, which is clearly something that they're working through and that they want to talk to somebody about, that they don't take into the fact that it could upset others and hurt other people's mental health. They're already looking at it from a completely wrong standpoint. Your mental health is not
therapists.
Exactly. We're not therapists. And I think that so many people lose sight of that because we are so open and we are so welcoming, and people just think that they can just like go and just say whatever, like we don't have our own mental health issues, we don't have our own traumas, we don't have our own things going on in our lives. And I think that they tried to gaslight you afterwards and blame you and say, oh, this isn't a safe space, whatever. I'm so sorry you went through that. It's a really shitty situation because you don't want somebody who's opening up to feel like, oh, well, I'm not allowed to open up anymore. But there are the right times and places where everyone will feel mutually safe to do that and
Correct.
to do so.
And that's why we have channels there are people who are capable of having those conversations. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to take that away either. There are plenty of disclaimers in the server and plenty of resources, and we provide those things to let people know we are not professionals. Here's where you can find help outside of this server. If you are capable of holding those conversations, please trigger warning and spoiler text what you're going to say and give people the option to read it. And that was what I offered, but apparently those boundaries were just not going to be respected. And that's okay. Then you don't need to be in that space. Right. But when you have a space that is comfortable and safe for everyone, it means everyone. It means that you need to be compassionate and understanding toward everyone there. Just because somebody is not being vocal about the trauma they experienced or the difficult thing that they're going through currently doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, depression and anxiety are invisible illnesses for a reason. When you don't know what somebody else is going through, you never do. And that does not, I know that a lot of people say that and then follow it up with, so be kind to people. But it's not just being kind to people. It's being respectful toward other people. It's understanding that discussing triggering and traumatic topics is not a respectful thing to do in front of unsuspecting people who may not be able to handle that. Right. A community is built around supporting one another. And that is what I want. I want everyone to feel comfortable supporting one another. But you need to be aware of and understanding and, like I said, compassionate, which is where a lot of this falls under. You need to be compassionate toward other people and understand that there are going to be some who cannot handle that. And a Twitch chat is not the optimal place.
It's not. And I also want to say there, like when I say there's a time and place, it also, what happens is sometimes, and I know you probably have experienced this too. I've experienced this. I actually want to be able to help you. And when we're in the middle of a hype train, or I'm playing a game, or we're having like a really fun conversation, or I'm drunk, coming to chat and literally saying something really intense and emotional, I am not able to help you at that moment. I cannot give you the time necessary or the attention necessary to direct you in your grief or your whatever you're going through. So I feel like you're doing a disservice to you because you're probably not going to get the attention or the help you need from me or from the community. And conversely, you now share something very personal and you might not get the reaction you need at that moment. So it's like, and then you might feel like, oh, well, I didn't get the reaction I need, so now I'm not going to ever share it again. And it's this domino effect. Yep. So that's when I say, it's like, please think about, like, get the I always say when people come into the stream, get the vibe, what's happening. Like, if we're already in this conversation and we're already talking openly and the narratives are flowing naturally, then it's okay. But if I'm like drunk playing Jackbox, like in a poop onesie, this probably isn't the moment to try to get me to give you, and I just feel like that's why it's like, read the room and also know that, like, there are, like you said, there are places and times that are safe and comfortable for all. And I think that Twitch chat very rarely is a place that you should just come in and just dump whatever you're saying and then it changes the whole flow of what's going on, and it can be very abrasive. It could be like a wrench in the system. It could be very upsetting. When I know that there was a lot of loss this year. We were basically the boots on the ground for many people through the pandemic as a touchstone. So many people were alone all year. They hadn't hugged or touched anybody. They hadn't seen their friends, their family. And I know that you, myself, basically anybody with a community on this platform were that emotional touchstone. And I know, do you feel like this year made it so that it was even more necessary to kind of have these open conversations? Or do you think that maybe, like, how do you feel like it's affected Twitch this year?
I would say yes, but there's an asterisk on that. I think that having those discussions is important. I think being able to have open, transparent communication within a community is, at least for us, has been key. It's been a staple of what we have, and having those conversations has meant a lot to me and to other people. But I think what is more important is destigmatizing the conversations about therapy. Yes. And I think that has been the most important part of all of this, is the transparency behind trying to remove that stigma. And honestly, like, seeing people in our community start therapy for themselves this year, sharing those experiences with us and talking about, how much it's helped them. Or, I've had people message me after conversations like that saying, I don't know how to get started finding a therapist. Could you help me? Or I'm too anxious. I don't know what to do. And I've talked to a lot of people privately about my experience starting therapy. And I've helped talk people, into doing what is best for them. And I think that knowing that there are people out there who trust me with those conversations has meant so much. And it speaks volumes to what I've been trying to build, and evidently what we have built. If you're going to have mental health conversations and you are also not discussing therapy and how it can help others, you're doing a disservice to the whole conversation in itself. Streamers are not mental health professionals, and this is something that we all discuss. But if you are not guiding them to other resources, if you are not discussing outside help or options, you're not having the full discussion, because you cannot carry that on you. Right. You are not a doctor. You are not somebody who can help all of these people. It's important I believe that having community discussions and having those talks that resonate with one another and sharing experiences is one thing. But when it comes to dealing with past trauma or getting through depression, anxiety, those are not things we are capable of. And that's why I will always and forever say that no matter who you are, I don't care how happy you are. I don't care how rich, how famous, I don't care. Therapy will help every single person on the planet.
I completely agree.
It doesn't matter. If you need somebody to just go and amp you the fuck up, you've got a therapist. You need somebody to talk you from a spiral, you have a therapist. Therapists are not just for people who have a mental health disorder. They are for everyone. Therapy will 100% help every single person who exists on this planet.
If society normalized mental health and normalized going to therapy, every person, I could not agree with you more. Every person on the planet would benefit. And I cannot say this enough. Like, I was in the medical field. I have a neuroscience degree. I have seen people who think that they have their shit together, and then all of a sudden they're like, wow, that person's like had some kind of breakdown or whatever. And they're like, wow, that person seems so fine. You don't know what's going on with people. And if people felt safe and comfortable and could talk to somebody that is unbiased and is there to listen to you and help you work through things, we would all benefit. And I think that's something I'm personally trying to work on, is like, people message me all the time, and I help. I just had a very intense conversation. I have very often I have not very often, but I'd say about probably more than it should. I have had about 5 or 6, maybe more, different people come to me when they are about to possibly make a life altering decision off of, temporary emotions, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Where they're at a space where they just like,
yeah,
it's not good. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I've talked to them. One time I was in Discord for 3 hours with one of my community members, just trying to calm them down. And then, but you're absolutely right. I am not a therapist, and I was coming at it from from a place of just a friend. But after I got off that call and he was okay, I was hysterical crying, because I am not equipped to deal with these conversations. Nope. I am not somebody who, even when people, but you have a neurosensory, that's not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not even a social worker. It's not something that I feel like people should expect. And it happens very often with me. And it's very emotionally draining. But then I have this, let me ask your opinion, because I talked to Kalina about this as well.
Yeah.
You have a section in your Discord for mental health. And my biggest concern is that I don't like Discord. And I'm so scared that if I make a section and somebody reaches out their hand in there and goes like, I need help right now, and no one's there on the receiving end, I would feel so guilty, or like I would feel so immense sadness if something could have been avoided, if they had just private messaged me, if they needed somebody to talk to. So my fear is always like, if I make this section where people can, talk to one another, what if something gets missed? What if something gets neglected? What happens then? Like, do you feel that? So
here's the thing. We have disclaimers that state explicitly that it is a space to discuss hardships, or you want to ask for advice or celebrate accomplishments, whatever it is. You have this space to be there for each other as friends and as a community. However, it is explicitly stated that no one here is a mental health professional. Do not ask for advice. Don't, it's more of like you're reaching out and discussing things with, I don't know, like a found family. It's not, if you are at a point where you need that kind of help, we provide hotlines and lifelines, and then other like magnitudes of resources for, other websites or other resources that can help further. And that if that's something you wanted to have, which by the way, you are not obligated to have, it just needs to be known that you yourself are not a resource, Haley.
Yeah.
You are a person. You are a friend. You are a kind person, a community leader. You are a human being. You are not a resource for someone.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
I think that we have a platform, and it comes with a responsibility, but that responsibility should never include, somebody else's mental health being put on your shoulders or somebody else's life. That's not what that means.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. And I think that that's something I have been struggling with and working towards. And I do have people in my community who are, counselors, or in the, or guidance counselors, or social workers. I do have people in the community, and they are like, we can, have resources. And I feel like we talk very openly about mental health in the chat. And I've been so apprehensive about making a section for people to talk in Discord, because I am just so scared that people are going to expect me to monitor it all day, all the time. Like you said, like I'm a resource, and that will be a place that they'll say things, and I'm supposed to, and then people will be like, why? I was so upset. I needed you. I posted in the Discord. You weren't there. And that's my fear, is like, I just don't know.
Yeah, but that's unfair to you. And that is where the personal boundary has to come in. And I think that it would be you setting that boundary in print. If you were going to have a channel like that, you would need to have a disclaimer channel that states loudly that you are not a resource that somebody can use when it comes to their, if their mental health is at stake, or anything of that severity. Like, it can't be on you. Right. And that, that needs to be understood and clarified. And I would highly recommend to any streamer listening to this that struggles with setting boundaries, that is one of the boundaries that you loudly express to your community. Because if anybody is expecting that of you, then that they're putting way too much, and that is not on you ever. It will never be on you if somebody expects you to be there for them.
Well, do you think, like, just, because you have been on this platform since Justin TV, you've been streaming for 4 years, right? Do you feel like that is one of the things that people don't even, like, a lot of people, I don't know what the word is, but they romanticize, I guess, streaming. Do you think that that would be one of the unspoken things that makes it challenging? That, you know, a lot of people look at streaming but there's, you know, people's real emotions are involved and real friendships. And, you know, not every community is like that, no, but like I feel like from you know, for like communities like ours and everybody in Sidequest, do you feel like that's one of the pitfalls? Like becoming too immersed, too connected, putting too much on your shoulders and building these boundary issues. Would that be one of the downsides, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that when it comes to the romanticizing of streaming, it's a lot of people see streamers as, oh, okay, well, you have a lot of free time because you just play video games and you know, you're on the internet. So like while you're here and talking to me and, you know, while you're streaming, you're obligated to talk to chat. Like I'm going to talk to you here. And, you know, I think alongside that, as like a side comment, there is a difference between free time and available time. And I think that distinction doesn't get made enough by people who are on the outside looking in. Right. You are not obligated to give anybody more of your time than you're comfortable giving. And that I think that when it comes to, that's a big boundary that needs to be set, that often is not respected. Because when people are DMing you, when people are adding you constantly in Discord, when people are trying to pull your attention outside of the time that you have designated to give, it's hard, because as a streamer, and I'm guilty of this wholeheartedly, I want to give more and I want to people please. I want to be there for people who need me. But the hardest change that I've had to make for myself is knowing that's not possible and it's not healthy. And it's not fair that other people would expect you to do that. It doesn't respect your time, your boundaries, your energy, or anything. It's an expectation that because you lead a community, you're meant to be on call. You're not a doctor.
You have office hours, right?
Yeah.
That's how you, do you want to tell them about that? Because I know that there's a lot of streamers in here and I thought that was like a brilliant idea. Yeah,
I set office hours for when I respond to DMs and emails, when I am active in Discord and like when I'm not. And like some days they'll differ, like if it's a Friday night and we're, you know, it's after stream and I'm hanging out up here, or it's a Saturday night and we're chilling in the office, like I'll talk more in Discord, but I do definitely set office hours throughout the day. So like from like 9 or 10 in the morning until maybe like 6 o'clock at night, I will be more active doing whatever it is I'm doing. And after that, I don't. It's me time, and I am not obligated to answer anything. And not that I am anyway, but like when I set the office hours, it's easier. And some days I don't have any, like Wednesdays and Sundays, like you're not going to catch me answering a lot of DMs or being super active anywhere, because those are my complete off days and I take them and I don't owe anybody my time on those days.
Oh my God. I feel like listening to you is so empowering, because I am like the opposite. I have such trouble. Like on Sundays, I said, I'm going to unplug on Sundays. And let me tell you, moral of the story, I never fucking unplug. It's so hard, because it's true. Like we love our communities. I mean, like I know I'm speaking for you as well, Jambo, but I know how much you love your community too. And I think it's like for me, I struggle. I feel like I'm like Pokemon evolutionary speaking. I'm getting to Jambo, but like right now I'm still in like the first of evolution phase, because it's hard. You know, I feel like there's a misconception that once all that streaming is you hit go live and that's like it. And it is so much more than that. I mean, it is complex, and you're dealing with real people, and you're dealing with lots of different people, and you're dealing with you are your entire show. You are the you know, the driving force. So that's something I've been working on, and I feel like it's really inspiring that you kind of were like where I was before, and now you're getting to where you are now. So I'm like, maybe I can do it.
Well, it's also like I think when it comes to, you know, like the idea, like you said, of romanticizing streaming, of, oh, well, it's on your own time and you're playing games with your friends and you're talking to people and you have like a really cool life and set up and whatever else. But like you're your own producer, your own social media manager, your own marketing team. You are your own, front man.
Everything, like literally.
You're everything.
Yeah, everything.
And a lot of time goes into that. A lot of time. So setting office hours is like that. It really is, in my opinion, setting those designated times has been crucial to my mental health and my well-being throughout all of it.
Yeah. And I think that that's really inspiring. I feel like your like story, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to sneeze. It's like, it's when
okay.
you get that tickle in there.
Bodily function. You can even queef if you want to.
Well, you heard about oh my God, the queef heard round the Twitch world. That was the fucking funniest thing. I just loved hearing all the comments. That's a whole other topic. I would love to talk to you again about like women on this platform, because one of the things I always like to talk about when I really wanted to talk to you about mental health and being a streamer, but you are so vocal about like being a woman on this platform. I could not agree with you more over your sentiments of like, when people are like, I'm so glad that you're not a booby streamer. Shut the fuck up. If I wanted to be, I could be. It's just not something that I choose to do with my body, but power to you if you want to. Like, why is it? And I also think like, that's such a backhanded compliment. You're pitting women against women. You're not complimenting me at all. And I think I love your narrative about that. I was lurking in your stream the other day and you went off and I was like, yes, I love that, because it infuriates me, because women should support women. And I feel like our society has always pit women against each other. For some reason, I feel like there's this weird thing that happens when there's two women and it's like, you're doing the same kind of thing, that it's competition. Why? Let's build each other up. Let's like hug each other consensually, I think we've evolved past this whole like, the tabloids where it's like Britney versus Christina. I'm showing my age. No one even knows who I'm talking about now. Like, but age. It's true. My age, but it's true though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like instead of pitting us against each other and being like, oh, I'm so glad you're not a booby streamer. Shut up. Like, like whatever. And I love that is something that's so important to you and it's important to me. We are 100% e-hugging, yes. But this is why I'm so happy that you came and talked with me and with the Poop Coven, and you are an inspiration to so many. And one of the things that one of the community members brought up previously was that Sidequest was originally your side quest and now it's your main quest, and you rewrote your whole narrative from there. You have inspired so many people. And, I just want to say, I know I've said this to you privately, but I just want to say I'm so appreciative that you took a chance on this weird that grunts all stream and just like talks about buttholes. Like, thank you for taking a chance on me getting into Sidequest. I still can't get over the fact that I'm in the company of such amazing, incredible content creators. It really is an absolute honor.
It's an honor to have you. Thank you for being interested.
Don't compliment me. No, don't. You're not allowed. No.
Well, suck my dick then, I guess.
Let's go. Where's the pizza? Where is the baby bird? Let's go. No, but you're amazing, and I am immeasurably. I mean, I think I speak for everyone in the Sidequest community and on Twitch in general. Like, you brighten us with your presence, and you have done so much good on this platform. And I think as a community, we are all going to continue to just fuck shit up in the best way. Can't wait to fuck everything up. Fuck everything up, but in like really wholesome, amazing. Wholesome amazingness of everything.
Wait, never mind. Like a good kind.
Like a good kind of fuck. Like the good kind, I think.
Right,
I think
that's what I meant. That's what I said.
No, listen, Jambo, it's actually been longer than an hour because I needed to just talk to you because I love you.
I'm so sorry that I took up so much of your time.
I would talk to you another 4 hours if you would let me, but seriously, is there anything else you want to share to the peoples?
I just want everyone to know that they're valid. That's all.
Okay. And
I see you and I hear you, and I just hope you're taking care of yourself.
Everyone take a bubble bath. I want to say, Jambo, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me and talk to the Poop Coven on Coven Conversations. If you ever want to join me again, I would be absolutely honored and humbled to talk to you about anything else you want to talk about it. Thank you so much. This was a really important conversation, and episode 7 is going down in history. We got Queen Jambo, our Lord and Savior. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
Party time!
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me and Jambo on Coven Conversations, episode 7. We love you. Mwah. Consensual hugs. You are valid, like Jambo said. Thank you so much for joining us today.